Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something that almost no one discusses when it comes to orgasm, and that is the role of safety in your environment. I'm Dr. Suzanne Malvahill, a clinical sexologist and orgasmologist, and much of my work focuses on understanding why so many women, and I will tell you the number is up to 72% of women, experience difficulty reaching orgasm and identifying proven pathways to orgasm. So one of the most important factors is something the nervous system is constantly evaluating. Is it safe for me to let go? Most women think that orgasm is about technique. They find the right position, the right stimulation, or the right partner. Regularly, I'm hearing women talk about, which vibrator should I use? If safety is not present, it doesn't matter what vibrator you use or what form of stimulation or which partner or anything with regards to that, if safety is not present. Because in reality, your orgasm depends on something much more fundamental, and that is whether the brain feels safe. Yes, whether your brain feels safe, because your nervous system is constantly scanning the environment for signs of danger. And why does it do that? It does that to keep you safe. It is a human phenomenon. It's a phenomenon in the world, right? And if the brain perceives threat, even a subtle threat, it automatically shuts down the processes that allow orgasm to occur. That's why the environment around you matters so much. The brain's detection system, it lives deep inside your brain in a structure called the amygdala, which is part of a larger emotional network known as the limbic system. And the limbic system is involved in processing your emotions, your memory, and survival responses, right? The amygdala in particular acts like the brain's alarm system. It's where trauma is stored. It's where painful memories are stored. And it operates in a way to constantly keep you safe. So we can thank this part of our brain and then learn how to work with it. And that's what I'm here to teach you. So this part of our brain, its job is, as I mentioned, to constantly scan the environment and look for threats. So even if you think you are relaxed, your brain might still be asking questions like, can someone hear me? Could someone walk in on me? Am I exposed in any way? Is this situation I am in, having sex right now, is this situation safe for me? And I cannot tell you how many women think that they're feeling safe, but when I go deeper in questions, I can hear, oh, I worry that my parents might walk in. I worry if I'm making too much noise. I worry. So that is your threat detection system right there. If your threat system is on, scanning your environment, you're almost guaranteed not to orgasm, or you're guaranteed not to experience a pleasurable orgasm called orgasm anhedonia, where your body may orgasm from having the reflex to orgasm, but it's not pleasurable. Similarly to, have you ever had a sneeze, for example, where you're driving and all of a sudden the light's changing, you're going to have to sneeze, and the sneeze either A, goes away, or you have it and it's not really pleasurable? It's the same like with orgasm, right? Okay, so your body, your mind, your amygdala is asking, is this situation safe? And if the brain detects even a small amount of risk, it shifts the nervous system into what is called protection mode. The body becomes more alert, your muscles might tighten, and attention may shift outward toward monitoring the environment. And in many respects, in part of this is called what researchers call cognitive distraction, right? Your brain's out there. We're talking about the environment. We're going to talk in another video about internal safety, but this is about scanning your environment. And cognitive distraction is a leading cause of orgasm difficulty for women, and that has been found in research. So when your nervous system is protecting you, your orgasm becomes much harder to reach, because orgasm requires the opposite state, right? Deep relaxation, being totally absorbed in the experience, which is another point that researchers have found that women need to be in an absorbed state of consciousness to orgasm. Men don't. So not as much. Women need that more than men. And again, that is in research. And the ability to surrender. So research shows that this system, our nervous system, can become even more sensitive if a person has experienced trauma. And this applies to both men and women. When someone has experienced trauma, not just sexual trauma, but any form of trauma, such as emotional trauma, medical trauma, or chronic stress, the brain's threat detection system can become easily activated or even stay activated. In neuroscience, this is sometimes called hypervigilance, when the nervous system stays on a higher level of alert, even when there's no immediate danger. And in my research, when I did a research study in evaluating women who had orgasm difficulty, many women talked about how cannabis would help them. What they mentioned was lower the mental walls, especially women who had had childhood sexual abuse. The mental walls are, it's like a fortress, right? So it's teaching the brain and the body, okay, you're safe. But we have to make sure that the external environment is safe to allow these mental walls to come down. In these situations, the brain may scan the environment more intensely, looking for signals that something might be wrong. That's what hypervigilance does. And that heightened alertness can make it much more difficult for the body to relax and surrender into the state that orgasm requires. So when we talk about orgasm difficulty, it's not simply about stimulation or technique, right? We're taking it now to the deeper issue in that the nervous system has not received enough signals of safety to fully let go. So the deeper question we're here to ask is, does your nervous system feel safe enough to let go? And this is exactly the idea behind what I call sexual neurorehabilitation. In medicine, we already understand rehabilitation very well. If someone injures their knee, for example, they may go through physical therapy to help the muscles, the nerves, and the movement patterns relearn how to function properly. I literally just went through this myself in July, having had a sciatica issue with the nerve running down my leg. I'm still in physical therapy, right? I'm retraining my muscles, how to have strength, how to walk again, etc. So if someone had a stroke, same way, rehabilitation helps the brain rebuild the neural pathways so the body can regain abilities like movement or speech. And the same principle applies to sexual function. If the nervous system has learned patterns of tension, vigilance, or protection, sometimes because of stress, trauma, or environmental factors, and also look at our cultural scripts, right, for women and men. But just look at how women in general have been raised and the religious scripts, the cultural scripts that have taught us things that can keep us hypervigilant, right? So part of the process is helping the nervous system relearn how to relax, feel safe, absorb sensation, and let go. So this isn't about forcing the body to respond or allowing situations because your partner is ready and you're not ready. And I want to speak about that for a minute because that's another area, again, external environment, right? What's happening outside of you. I recently was in touch with a woman who had shared that, her partner put on the lube and starts what she called jackhammering her, penetrating her before she was ready. Now, and then she wonders why she's not feeling sensation and why she's not orgasming. Right already, if we look at layer one, safety, body's not safe. So we're in charge of, ladies, of keeping our own sanctuary safe. And that may mean telling your partner,
how much rejection am I supposed to take?
I'm not ready for sex yet. I'm not ready, or I don't want sex. One of the studies done in Finland, Osmo Kontula, who's a female sexual function researcher, did a longitudinal study in Finland. And one of the questions that they came out with was, we need to understand why women are more focused on their partner's pleasure than their own. So this just gives you an idea of, I want to almost say how much work we have to do even with our own boundaries, not masturbating. Some of the women that I've spoke with are at home and they're concerned they're going to be heard or their neighbors might hear them. Your body's on alert and it won't let you feel safe. So what we're teaching is gradually creating the conditions where the nervous system, your nervous system, can learn that it's safe enough to experience pleasure and sensation. The bypassing safety is basically what we just talked about, how a woman allowed her partner to put on the lube and penetrate her before she was ready. That's bypassing safety, right? Looking through the lens of the nervous system, the key questions we have to ask is your body ready? Because if your body's not ready, you're not safe, bottom line. And in that moment, that her nervous system had not yet moved into a state of relaxation and sensory openness, she wasn't able to experience pleasure. So oftentimes women talk about this feeling that their body is broken. Oh, there's something wrong with me. When really what's wrong is they're not feeling safe. So that's what we're here to teach today, right? Sexual neurorehabilitation involves learning to slow down and respect the body's natural sequence, allowing safety and protecting your safety with boundaries, arousal, and sensation to develop before moving forward. Because sexual pleasure doesn't come from forcing the body to respond. It comes from allowing the nervous system the time it needs to fully enter the experience. So we talked about a little about privacy and interruption, and that's also a barrier of orgasm. Even if no one is interrupting you, the possibility of it happening activates your threat system. Children in the house, thin apartment walls, roommates nearby, unlocked doors. My mom used to always lock the door, in fact, into her bedroom, and I never understood that until I was older. So each of these create micro threat signals in monitoring in the environment instead of allowing you to fully sink into the experience. Because we're not going to really feel the depth of the sensation without the depth of safety. This is why we are here in this experience today. A last phase I want to talk about here is the lighting and how the sensory environment plays a powerful role in how safe the body feels, creating an enjoyable environment for sex. If you look back on ancient times, you'll see even in Miami, for example, there's the World Erotic Museum in Miami, and you'll have scenes of creating erotic safety, putting candles and incense and creating an environment of safety. So the lighting, the noise, you want music, the room temperature, the comfort that you're experiencing, whether you're on a bed, on the couch, on the floor, the scent of the room, all these things stimulate your brain. Am I enjoying this environment? Does it feel good? So the more comfortable and protected the environment feels, the easier it becomes for the nervous system to let go. Women often need emotional safety. They need respect and no pressure to perform, ladies. No pressure to perform. No pressure. And that includes your own pressure. Do not put any pressure on yourself to perform, because that's another area. It's another video. So feel free to explore sensation without any expectations. All right. And I want to invite you to share your comments below, like have a conversation here. You're welcome to go to femaleorgasmtraining.com and read some of our free pleasure guides. Also go to our Facebook page, our Instagram, and we'll share with you the beautiful graph of understanding what inhibits orgasm related to safety and what promotes it. May you be safe. All right. Signing off. Thank you for watching.